Lost in a Dark Place by Patrick Huber. A chaotic symphony of light and sound pop and burst until all that remains is silence and darkness. You wake up sitting in the pilot's seat of a craft pod. Your perspective is limited, and you hear your breathing, which means you have a helmet covering your head and face. You are in a flight suit of some sort, designed for distant off-world travel. So far you are unable to see beyond your mask, but a blinking light brings your attention to an instrument panel, just at arm's length. Most of the instruments are broken, save for the one that blinks to let you know everything else is broken. Attempting to ground yourself, you find that you have no recollection of the events that brought you here. From what you can see outside the window is not much. Your world is enveloped in darkness. The terrain looks flat, but you are unable to see much more than a few yards from the ship. You open the hatch and get a better view of this strange world. Without proper readings of where you are, you venture to keep your suit on until you can know if the air is breathable. Your suit can hold enough oxygen for up to 18 hours without any extreme strengths of physical exertion. Stepping foot on the ground where you notice gravity appears to be similar to Earth. You get first good look at your ship. Without knowing the day-night cycle, you are unsure how to evaluate what you're looking at. The sky appears to be a dark amethyst color with streaks of indigo haphazardly brushed across it. They act like clouds high up in the sky, hiding a glow-bluing moon behind it. You take stock of your situation. The lifeboat you crash land was a one-tripper, and the crash did away with any hopes of attempt at a second. Your suit appears to be relatively untouched from the crash and in good working order, with a wristband with a readout for energy, oxygen supply. Other than that, you have your legs and your wits. With no better alternative, you decide to walk away from the lifeboat. Looking over the horizon to your left, you gaze at what could pass as storm clouds in the distance. A thick layer of dark purple hangs between the orange sand and the sky. You see the clouds roll and bubble with momentum. To the right looks clear, so you go right. You do not know how long you may have be before the storm hits, or what would look like here, but you attempt to put some haste in your step. No destination other than survival. A purposeful walk turns into a jog, which briefly jumps to a run but slows back down to a brisk walk. The weight of the suit is limited oxygen, and limited oxygen put a low ceiling on how fast you can travel. You decide a steady pace is best. You have no sense of time or how far you've traveled. You glance behind you every so often to check on the storm, which appears to have stalled, at least for now. You could measure your distance from the pod, but you lost sight of it and your only point of direction a while ago. "No, stay with me!" A voice, thundering across the surface of the planet. The vibrations knock you to your feet. You're momentarily paralyzed by this new mystery. "Stay with me!" the voice says again, and like before, the world shook. The ground stabilizes and your fear subsides, or at least it intensifies enough to get you back on your feet and moving again. You add fearful determination into your walk with an intent of fleeing and hiding. But with nothing to see other than a dark sky and burnt orange sand, you are once again fleeing with no destination. Deep on the horizon, straight ahead, a small flash of what could be lighting popped. Unsure of what the meaning of what you saw, it is a promise of something other than darkness. Perhaps. So you could continue toward it. You believe you make a rise in elevation in the distance. Could be mountains or perhaps unnatural mounds of signaling life. Either way, you head towards it. The mounds gradually grow in height, and you can be pretty certain they are natural mountains. The brights of glimmer of hope to your otherwise bleak situation. The change of terrain is a breath of fresh air, so to speak, until a ground elevation drops off and you find yourself on the precipice of a deep canyon. Hesitation brings you to look around for other options. The storm still intensifies behind you. The layer of bubbling blackness is twice as large as before and growing faster. With no alternative, you find a gentle enough slope for you to slide down to the lower ledge. It's about 8 feet or so down. You slide down with little trouble. You see that your path to the bottom is much more of the same. A series of small rock outcrops and ledges a few feet or so down that allow you to get to the bottom. Once at the bottom of the canyon, your worldview has become much narrower. Your perception is now framed by the dark 60-foot walls that could not be more than 20 or so feet apart. You stay on the move. As you hustle through the maze of dark black rock, the storm has caught up with you, and there is no more color in the sky. Black clouds spill over the sides of the canyons, cascading down the rock like water down a mountain slide. And just like water, it continues to flow in your direction. You pick up speed, but the rush of black catches up to you. It builds around your ankles, and yet you move with ease, as there is little or no reaction. You continue through the canyon as the clouds are past your knees. You lose notice of any color in the sky, but rather different contrasts of darkness. You are aware of no light source, but still you are able to see your path through this colorless void. The canyon walls are narrowing and the mist is high up around your waist. There is an unmistakable mass to it now. You feel resistance to your movement. The cloud is so dense you cannot see below the surface. The density has created a pressure and it restricts your movement. It feels as though you are walking through a storm cloud with wind crashing at you from every direction. You struggle to keep moving, but you know you must. If anything, because the alternative is to quit and die. And you don't quit, even if it means death. Your brain starts to process what it sees in front of you. You've reached the end of the canyon, and a 100-foot wall is ahead of you. This cloud is nearly up to your chest, and you have to get out of this. As you approach the wall, you see a small crack about 8 feet tall, maybe 18 inches wide. You stick the face shield of your helmet into the crack to see what's behind it. Like everything else, it's dark, but you sense depth in the darkness, and from the cloud that has seeped in the ground level stays constant, at least for a while. "No, no, don't go, stay with me." A booming voice echoed through the walls of the canyon. Sonic booms explode in the totality of the atmosphere, disrupting the rocky terrain. Large rocks crumble down from the walls, disappearing into the surface-level clouds. You cling to the wall, not wanting to get sucked under the surface. You have to get there. You attempt to escape through the crack, but your helmet of your suit makes you too wide. You desperately try to force metal and plastic through rock, but it won't budge. A tsunami of wind builds and comes rushing through the canyon. The force of dense air presses you against the wall. Your world is enveloped by black, swirling wind. Your panic pushes you to act desperately, and with little thought and possible consequences. You take a deep breath, remove your helmet, and try to squeeze through. Still nothing. So you quickly strip off your suit, wearing nothing but a monotone underbase layer. You take your first breath of alien air and relieved to not immediately die. It could have been oxygen, but for now it's not poison. The narrow crack blocks most of the wind, but forces you to step aside most of the way. With only the sidewalls to guide you, you press on. Without the filter from the helmet visor, you see that the world takes on a dark bluish tone. Your arms spreading further alert tell you the gap is widening. The ground slopes so much that you lose your balance and begin to slide. The slope forms into a roll as you travel downhill before coming into a tumble at the bottom. You roll to your back and look up. Large spikes of black rock with dim blue glow cover the ceiling, hanging down at varied lengths. You sit up and see the ground is not much different, with opposing spikes stretching up from the ground. You're up on your feet, feeling little effort from the fall, little effects. Unsure of where to move, you stay frozen. A low, inaudible humming voice echoes through the cave before a flash of light blinds you. The brightness subsides and the cave is alive with electricity, arcing from point to point in a concerted ballet. You are now able to see the cave in its full wonder. The ceiling must be 20 feet high, and the expanse looks infinite. Most interesting is a reflection you notice from a large mass of black water. You run to the edge, and it is indeed a lake of blackness. You bend down to put your hand in it. It is as dark and soulless as oil, but with a touch of water. You stand once again at the precipice of a decision with no clear motivation. The electricity has died down, so you're back to a muted blue darkness. You see no end to this lake that could stretch on forever. You step into it to check its depth. You look back away from the shore and see the hole you fell about 8 feet off the ground from the wall, about 50 yards from the shore, making this at the end of the cave. You look around for answers. There's always something. You venture further from the shore, but a force pulls you back. You find yourself heading back to the lake. Again, the low humming voice throughout the cave in a flash of light. It knocks you into the water before giving way to an electric current dance above. A rhythmic pounding, weak but noticeable, emerges. It causes the spike to hum and reverberate. You get up and are immediately taken back by a tall cyclone of light at the back wall of the cave, stretching from the ground to the ceiling. You walk towards it and feel warmth immediately. It's the first time since you've woke up that you've noticed temperature. It's never occurred to you, but if it was hot or cold. But now as you step closer to this light, arms of warmth reach out to pull you closer. A small black wave rushes up from the lake and swirls around your feet before receding back. You take another step toward the light, and again a black wave comes in, this time up to your knees, and you feel a pull of current as the water recedes. You move closer to the swirling mass of white illumination and are hit with another wave that knocks you to the ground. This time, the current drags you back a few feet. You jump to your feet and sprint towards the light. Another crash from behind, and you fall face forward down into blackness. The current has you. It pulls you under the black water. You tumble and roll around, trying to get a sense of your direction. The wave crashes back on land. You're up and sprinting hard now toward the light. You dare to look back and catch a tidal wave building and rushing up quick. The brightness begins to hurt your eyes, and you squint but still run. You are hypnotized by the warmth as it grabs a hold of you. You feel drops of water falling as you know the wave is about to crash down. You pull forward with everything you have left and leap forward just as the wave crashes behind you. The intensity of the wave pushes you forward into the cyclone, and your world goes to white. I have a pulse. One EMT alerts another. Okay, she's stable. Let's load her up. It's early morning and the sun has broken free from the horizon. Last of the night, fighting a losing battle with the sun. Paint an ombre of black to blue to yellow in the sky. The virgin sun's rays reflect off the fresh dusting of snow, illuminating the world. The two EMTs secure the woman to the gurney and exit a suburban home towards the waiting ambulance. A man, early 40s, runs alongside the gurney. He's wearing sweatpants, t-shirt, and slippers, holding her hand. She's loaded up, the doors are closed, and the ambulance drives off. The man walks back over to the sidewalk and bends down to embrace two small children, their eyes red and swollen with tears wet down their cheeks. Is Mommy going to be okay? A young girl of 8 asks her dad. Mommy is going to be okay. She got lost in a dark place, but she found the light again, he tells them. The flashes of red and blue fade on their faces as the ambulance gains distance from them. Their family watches as their mother heads off toward the rising sun of a new day.